Hey, this is Dark Doll. I just want to give you guys an update on what's going on with me. I'm in the midst of moving and finding out when we can move into the new place, the apartment that we're trying to get into. We were hoping that we would move out on the 1st. It looks like we won't be moving out until hopefully before the 5th, because I asked my landlord for extra time and he was nice enough to allow us to stay until the 5th and free of charge. So I hope everything works out. I'll catch you on the way back because I'm heading up to the store to get some water refilled. This is just a catch-up video, catching you up on what's going on with me in my world. I've been a bit frustrated right now because things are moving so slow. It's moving, so if these people are gonna let me go, they won't. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna run across. He won't let me go. I'm gonna go anyway. God dang. So, anyways, that probably wasn't a good idea since I have a bad ankles and bad knees. But anyway, it's starting to rain, and I'll catch you guys on the way back. Alright, so I made it back home. I was going to film my way back home in nature, but it started to rain, so let's not do that. So I'm going to get myself comfortable, and along with an update on what's going on with me in my world, I want to ask one of you guys' questions that you asked recently. God, I'm tired. This getting ready for this move is really gotten me stressed out ridiculously. So if I seem tired and haggard, that's because I can't. That's because I am. It's tiring. So, but I want to answer a question that a viewer subscriber asked me about a video that I think it's one I recently created for this channel for Freeform Dreadlock Talk. Let me have a sip of my tea here. I'm just drinking some green tea by Tetley. So let me position my phone. My phone keeps wanting to move. So here's the question. It's by Miss Miko, and it's from the comment section on the video Freeform Talk moisturizing dreads. So here is the comment and question within. I get those thinning spots as well. I have 4C hair and haven't twisted my hair in over 2 years. And you have been my inspiration. Thank you. I wanted to know, do you get webbing? I noticed I'm getting this a lot and very little locks everywhere. I love this new experience, however it's new to me. Is all this normal when you are freeforming? Thanks so much for your opinions. You're truly appreciated. Blessings. Well, thanks, Miss Miko. You're truly a blessing too. I'll take off my hat and see if I can show you. I got it. Oh, that's a piece of lint. Lint is inevitable, guys, with dreadlocks, whether they're freeform or whatever. So, do I have netting? Yeah, I have netting. I don't know if I can really show you completely the netting between the grays in my hair, but the netting is like that. You see that how it's sticking like that? Yeah, my hair is going gray, white, I should say. Some of my hair is going white, so that's what you see a lot of sometimes. But yeah, that's right here. What it's doing, see little thin pieces of hair sticking to, making it stick to the other dreads. What it's doing is trying to form congos. Congos are dreadlocks that have joined together. That was how this dreadlock formed. It's one of my thickest dreadlocks, and it's like, I think a total of 6 medium-sized dreadlocks formed into one big dreadlock. So that's what happens when you let your dreadlocks do that webbing, because the webbing occurs when you're not separating them. When your hair grows in, if you're not combing it, the hairs start to stick to each other, whichever one is nearest to the other. So I've got a lot of little skinny dreadlocks too for that reason. The little skinny dreadlocks that you see on my head, on the top, underneath, those little tiny dreads, that is new growth that has grown out. So that's what that is. These little bitty, tiny skinny dreads. What they'll do over time, if you just leave it alone, what it'll do is it'll join into bigger, more substantial dreads. And eventually, like this right here, this dread formation has been brought to you by, has been formed by many other dreads, little dreads. So that's how it forms on my head. And yeah, that's just how I've experienced it. I don't know if it's unique to 4C hair because my son is mixed, so he has both straight and curly hair, and he has dreads. And his hair does that too, but what he does is he separates his. I think he's away. He separates the webbing. He doesn't keep it because he doesn't want to have. He had at one point had a really big, huge dread, and he kept it clean and everything, but he had a really big, huge dread. He didn't like that. He cut it, and then now he's got all of his dreads are separated, and they're like about shoulder length. So yeah, I never had the second time around of these set of dreads, which was 99, is my second set of dreads. My first set of dreads was in 98. So in 99, I wasn't afraid of them joining together. I didn't feel like I wanted to separate them. And before I heard the term freeform dreadlocks, I was just doing that. I was just letting them form freely. I just felt like I felt like dreadlocks shouldn't be, for me at least, hair that I have to style every day and worry about if one lock's not out of place. Most of the time I just put it in a hat, and it makes it easy. So yeah, to answer your question with a long answer, I do experience webbing, and I experience webbing. You might experience it even more and more so as time goes on. If you cleanse your dreads on a regular basis and they're really good and clean, and I don't know, maybe not. So my own personal experience is that I do experience it, and I think it's good for me because it helps to let those little skinny dreads attach to a more substantial dread so that those little skinny dreads don't break off. So some people like to braid those little skinny dreads together and leave it and let the braid dread up. That's what some people do. Some people don't consider that freeform dreadlocks because they feel like that's too much manipulation. You just have to figure out what it is you want to do. I have freeform dreadlocks, and just because I do doesn't mean that you have to follow exactly with what I'm doing. As long as you're keeping a healthy head of hair, if you don't want to have your dreadlocks Congo and you see the webbing, then you separate the webbing. And you want to separate the webbing however best you think you should separate the webbing. Some people say they like to do it when their hair is wet. Some people say it's better when it's dry. I don't separate my hair at all, so I don't have any preferences, and I don't have any direct personal advice when it comes to that. So thanks so much, Miss Miko, I should say. Miss Miko, for your comment. Is very, and your question. It's very important because some people, they get confused and they start to wonder if this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my freeform dreadlocks. But for freeform dreadlocks, I think for me, it's like just as little manipulation as possible. If it starts to do the webbing thing, which I just showed you my hair does, it's when new growth is coming in. Those little tiny ones are wanting a place to stay that's more substantial, something more sturdy, and where it won't just break off. It'll form together and form a more solid dread. The way it does that even more so, because those little hairs are fragile. Those little tiny ones, I'll show you really tiny ones I have, or skinny ones. The really skinny ones are really fragile. Let me see if I can find them. Well, the other one's on top of my head, but then there's ones like this that are really fragile. So these right here will join together with the other one. This one like here, it'll join together eventually with a thicker one. But the way to protect these really skinny ones is to put your hair up and out of the way so that you don't like accidentally yank it and damage your hair. that's one key I found to maintaining the hair that's on my head instead of losing hair, by not putting it in any too tight of hairstyles, and maybe keeping it in a tam, and keeping it out of the way. A lot of times I won't have it like hanging out loose like this all day. I'll have it, like actually inside of the hat. Have my dreads all inside of the hat. That way, they're protected, and you're not constantly thinking about them and fussing with them. Especially when you have freeform dreadlocks, simplicity is the key. So you could do something like that, and this is what I consider a protective hairstyle. Something that's protecting your hair. It's totally covered. Nothing's gonna happen to your hair. So yeah, but yeah, it's been a really fun journey, and I appreciate all of you guys' comments, and I appreciate all of the support I've had with going through this move. Everybody's been very supportive, and I appreciate it. As you know, it's not easy, but yeah, I maintain my locks, keep it simple. Webbing occurs. That happens with a lot of people, I'm sure, but I know that it happens with me, and it happens with my son. My son separates his. I don't separate mine, so it just is a matter of preference of what you like. I like mine getting thicker and thicker, and his hair is already thick, really thick, so yeah. But thank you so much for joining me today for today's update on what's going on with me and my move and my freeform dreadlock journey, and answering Miss Miko's question about her journey. Yeah, you can get those weak spots easily from, like, if you twist it and twist your dreads too much, or if you're putting them in, like bending them over like that. I've noticed that if I just kind of like try not to do too much manipulation, then I won't get the weak spots. But I've got some weak spots, and so they just are, and everything will repair itself when you stop doing the damaging things to it. That's the best advice I got about the weak spots, if anybody was wondering.